All right, welcome, badasses. Welcome my next guest, Josh. Josh, how you doing today, bud?
I'm awesome, man. It's a great day.
Awesome, man. Hey, thank you for coming on the show, especially for the Father's Day special. Let's just jump right into this. You're a father. How many kids you got?
I've got three kids, two daughters, 17 and 14. One of them actually has a birthday today. And then I've got a little boy who's 8 years old. Yeah, it's an
Oh, I
adventure.
bet. I bet. Especially, having a teenager to, an 8-year-old, 9-year-old. You know,
Right.
how are they different?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, having two teen girls, that's no joke. One is going to be a senior this next year. And so we're getting ready to do all of that stuff. She's kind of ready to move out, and we feel pretty confident that she's ready for that. But it's still one of those like, oh, are we ready for that kind of thing? So, and then just having two teenagers and then an 8-year-old who's still kind of learning his way. Uh, Man, they're night and day different. Every one of my kids is different. It's pretty awesome seeing how each of them are growing separately. So,
Well, you have to raise them a little bit different, right?
of
Individually, because
course,
you have to fit them to their personalities. You
yeah,
know, it's
yeah,
amazing. It's amazing watching these just little ones grow up. I have 4 kids,
okay,
8,
yeah,
18, 16, 12, and 9. So I feel
wow,
you. My two oldest and youngest is a boy, and then the girls are in the middle.
okay,
Um,
yeah.
so I don't think I started getting gray hair until my daughter turned 13. My oldest daughter turned
Yeah,
13.
yeah, That's when it definitely started coming out more. They make fun of my beard because it's got a lot of gray in it, and I just kind of roll with it now. And now they're pointing out like the hair loss that's happening too. So they're always giving me a hard time, but I'm like, you're the one that's making this happen.
Yeah, it's okay to make fun of this south of the border, but north of it,
Right.
we're not talking about it. Okay,
Yeah,
leave that alone.
that's right. I am pretty protective of my beard, and they make fun of like all the products I use to they're like, you have more cosmetics than I do, and I'm like, that is not true. I know how much you spend on your stuff, and I nowhere near the same.
Of course you do, because you buy it.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, shoot, let's just jump in. I mean, a beard, man. Come on,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about your beard. So, what kind of products do you use?
So the website that I like to go to is called Live Bearded. I know there's a lot of different options out there, but they've got this package that has like the shampoo and the conditioner, oil, and like the I don't know what they call it, beard butter. But man, that they've got this variety pack where you can test the different scents, and so that's kind of how I got started with them was trying each one. Just to kind of the scents are important because I get headaches sometimes from bad scents. But man, I loved what they had, and they're always coming out with new scents too to try. They actually had a coffee scent that they came out with not too long ago, but it was on back order, so I haven't gotten to try that one yet. But
Oh, wow.
yeah,
I have to check them
yeah,
out.
Live Bearded.
You know, Live bearded. Yeah, I use right now. I'm using Mad Viking
Okay,
Beard Company. Pretty awesome products. Love it. I also use Admiral Pennant. It's also a veteran-owned company, man. So pretty
okay,
awesome.
sweet,
It makes some really good. 1776 is my favorite blend with Admiral Pennant.
awesome.
So
I'll have to check it out.
yeah, man.
I like changing it up every now and then, give something new a try.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get some different smells. So
Mm-hmm.
fatherhood, man. What does fatherhood
Yeah.
kind of mean to you, and how over the years, how's it kind of developed you?
Man, I feel like that has changed for me a lot. I feel like when I first became a dad, it was all about my kids, right? Being a good father means, raising them upright, making sure that they know what they need to know and, are kind of following that path. I feel like, as I've grown as a father, I've really seen fatherhood meaning more about kind of learning about myself. Obviously still impressing upon my kids, things that I think that they need to grow into. But really the emphasis for me has shifted on how raising them changes me. I really feel like it's one of those experiences in life that's more shaping than probably anything that I've experienced. So
Yeah. Yeah. What's one of those experiences that you kind of look back on and you say,
hmm.
wow, this kind of really just changed the trajectory of me being a father?
Yeah. So I think that when my kids started getting a little bit older and could engage in like really serious conversations, not just kind of the silly things about what they like to play with and stuff like that, but when they really start thinking things through, but more specifically when they start to experience like pain and just helping coach them through that pain that they have and really not being able to change it, but just like, yeah, this sucks. You're dealing with something and it's really hard. And, as much as I'd like to control your world and keep you from, experiencing that pain, I can't. It was kind of that first, man, there's so much about this parenting thing that's out of my control. And it was kind of a wake up call for me because I had to come to grips with my own need to control things that I couldn't. Right. So when that started happening, it was, I think, when the real formation started for me as a father.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, this whole pathway of fatherhood is difficult, because you want to be that protector. You want to put this
Mm.
inside this bubble and have them feel no pain, have them go through no struggles, but then on the
Right.
outside of it, kind of some of the pain that we go through and the and the struggles that we go through, it's kind of what builds us and kind of what shapes their
Oh, yeah.
character, and builds their confidence. So when they are able to leave that nest, they kind of got that confidence, right? That's kind of the tough
Right.
part. I mean, what you're saying. So what was one of the, like, what's the best part about being a fatherhood?
Mm. Um, I think just those moments of pride, when you really look at where they're at and who they are as a person. We've done a lot of shifting in our my wife and I and our parenting approach over the years, but in some ways when they start kind of bucking against what you're trying to lay down, and you're like, okay, I like that you're an independent thinker, and you're developing your own sense of self. I just wish it was a little more obedient. um, there's actually a lot of pride in that because you kind of know, all right, they're going to be okay. They're not going to just cater to the crowd and kind of fall in with what's expected of them, but they're actually going to be independent, self-sufficient. There's a lot of pride in that for me when I see them coming into their own.
That's one of the things my oldest daughter, I try to instill to her, like, some toughness, some a little bit of grit, a little bit of like, hey, this is my life. I'm going to do it. I didn't
Right.
know that was going to kick me in the ass. Really, really didn't know. Like I was like,
Oh, what
I'm
have I
building
done?
this tough, independent woman. Yeah, look at me, because I was
Right.
just a single dad for a while, and so I was like, yes, I'm building this tough, independent, And then I was like, hey, what are you doing? No, you're too independent. Like, hey, just listen to me. And she's like, no, I'm
Right.
fighting you on this. I was like, that's not how I raised you. She's like, yeah, that's exactly how I raised you. I was like, okay, that might be true. That might be true, but you got to listen to me. She's like, no, I'm fighting you on this one.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, you know what? I've created this. Good luck, guys, because now she's a monster.
Right. Yeah. You kind of got to be
Yeah,
careful what you ask for. But it pays off, right? Seeing them, come into their own like that, it serves them really well.
yeah, it is. It's this, it's like the personalities, like I've got, she's kind of outwardly going. She's willing to just go try new things. And then my youngest daughter is just a ball of learning. Like she taught herself how to skateboard. She taught herself how to BMX. But when I taught her how to ride a bike, and I was like, okay, this is going to probably take a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Ran next to her, held the seat, let go of the seat, gone. She was gone. Started turning around. I was like, wow, well, I'm going to go make sure I have my medical card in my wallet because this is going to be a good one. And yeah, so she taught herself how to skateboard. You know,
that's awesome.
One of the proudest things of my fatherhood and was teaching them life lessons. And my daughter wanted to do or wanted a new skateboard. And I was like, yeah, I'll go buy a new skateboard. Can you just tell me what's wrong with the 4 skateboards you have in the garage? She's like, oh, it's not custom. I was like, cool. I was like, well, what are you going to do to earn the money to buy it? She's like, what? She's like, I'll do chores. I was like, no. That's just part of living in this house. And she's like, all right. So she went and like walked dogs and made like $5 or $10. She's like, it's going to take me forever. Yeah, because a custom skateboard costs like $250, I think. So she made a lemonade. So she was like, Dad, we'll do a lemonade stand. I was like, sure. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be a good life lesson, right? Man, she made $300 at a lemonade stand.
Wow,
I was like,
a good haul.
I don't know exactly what I taught her yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. But she worked her butt off. And then I was like, hey, I'm the bank. I gave you the loan for the stuff. Now you have to pay me back because I was not expecting that. I was expecting to make $50, $60, you know? So do you have you have a lesson like that just looks and just kind of exudes? You're just kind of like, wow, I am so proud at this moment.
Yeah, I think that, with teen daughters, I'm not huge on drama. Like when the drama starts with the friends, I'm kind of like, I zone out just a little bit. And, that I think that makes it hard on them because they feel like I'm not really like involved or invested in, in what's going on. But I think that when they started, experiencing some of this when they were younger in their little friend groups, just trying to coach them through like, okay, what do you want for things to be like? Do you want to be able to engage in that? Because they'd come home and they'd be frustrated because so-and-so friend would say something and the other friend got upset and they feel kind of caught in the middle. And so I think just, those life lessons of, you don't have to engage. You can step out of that drama and then just kind of let the other people kind of self-destruct and not get caught up in that. And I've kind of seen that play out, by them setting healthy boundaries for themselves, right? They can still invest in their friendships, but at the same time not become so invested that they can't be okay unless their friends are okay. I don't know. It's been neat watching that unfold, especially as they get a little bit older and the drama becomes a little more complex and, they're able to just kind of keep their distance. It's pretty neat.
So have you seen like the kind of the shift since you've been teaching her to do that, the independentness or this, the lack of not caring about the drama as much? Is she kind of removed or is she still kind of into the drama, just doesn't come to you as much?
No, I think that both of my daughters are pretty kind of drama repellent, right? But what's cool is that, just last night, one of my daughters, my younger daughter, she turns 14 today, actually. One of her friends from school called her, and she had her on speakerphone, which I was shocked because I was sitting in the living room with her. And so she answered on speakerphone, and her friend was, her voice was kind of wavering a little bit. She was like, Joy, can I talk to you? And Joy was like, yeah. And her eyes got real big. And then she took it off speaker and ran upstairs. And so, I'm proud of them because they're not getting involved in the drama, but their friends see them as like a strong support. And I think that, I don't know. I know every parent's super proud of their own kids, but I feel like there's a maturity that they've kind of developed as a result of not getting sucked into the drama, that their peers see them as, people who, they can lean on, that have some wisdom. They've got, even just if they're not giving advice, just, someone that they can go to. And I don't know that happens when you get caught up in the drama and it's all the negativity and everything like that.
Yeah, I think
So,
the negativity can really impact, how they start really interacting with people, right? Especially now,
yeah.
because this is like the pivotal point in their life of like when they really
Mm-hmm.
start being a social and kind of find their place in like a social ecosystem, you know?
Sure.
And, that sounds like a fantastic job. That's great advice actually for fathers out there. It's hard to
Yeah.
actually stay tuned in because I don't like drama either. And I'm just kind of like, they talk
Yeah.
about it and I'm like, oh God, here we go. A Britney Spears moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be in
Right.
this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and somehow my oldest, she's 17. She's almost 17. Like she has had zero desire to have any social media. Like she doesn't want Instagram, she doesn't want Facebook, she's not on Snapchat, TikTok, none of that. And she even rolls her eyes at me sometimes because I'm probably on Facebook too much. But and I'm kind of like, don't you want to, just check it out? And she's like, no, it's just too much. Like I've just seen what it does to my friends and how they get sucked into getting likes. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I think it's great that she's kind of set that up for herself because, it does cost. I mean, it just adds to the drama.
I don't know what secret sauce you have to take that away from people, and not even take it away, but like, how do you kind of mold these kids of saying like, your life isn't online, your life is here, in present moment, like, like what's that secret sauce? Because that is so fantastic to hear, and that reinstills like some like hope in this younger age.
Yeah.
Like,
wow. I've never actually thought about what it was that created that. I mean, I think that my wife is not on social media a whole lot. I think like she does like 2 or 3 posts a year on her Facebook account. Being a business owner, I feel like I kind of have to, but I don't know. I think maybe some of my bad habits is what shaped my daughter. There have been times when both of them have said, Dad, I'm right here, like, and I'm kind of nose to the phone. So that's something that I've tried to shift on. But my bad habits may have shaped them, for the good. And I try really hard now to kind of shift on that. Like if they walk into the room and I'm on my phone, I'll set it down and engage with them, and try and have some better habits with that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that my older one, she's just kind of wise beyond her years, and a lot of that I'm sure is because of my wife.
Sure. So it sounds like she's kind of learning by both, learning by your wife, learning by you. Be like, hey, my mom didn't have this, my dad does. One's not glued and one's glued.
Sure.
And then what you touched on though is the social ecosystem she's in too, and she saw the drama that it causes too. I definitely think this day and age, these kids growing up are in a different world than we were. You know what I mean? Like we had a pager. I had a pager, man. Like yeah, that was how my dad got a hold of me. Until I went to the service, and then that's when I had my first cell phone. But pager, so you didn't have at the fee, and you had to go a payphone, and have a couple quarters. Like these kids don't even know what a payphone was.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
But it's amazing just to hear that you have one kid who's not on social media. Now, is the other daughter like?
She wants to be. We've kind of been hesitant about that. I suppose if she pushed it, we would try to figure out how to make that happen. We're not like super sheltering, we're not that family. but we want to do things well. And so, if she said, "Hey, can I get Instagram?" We'd probably say, "Okay, talk to me about why you want to do that. How are you gonna regulate that?" Um, she, they always find ways if it's important to them, right? And so she got on Pinterest, and I didn't even know that there was a social component to Pinterest, but a bunch of her friends were on it, and they would share memes and things like that, through Pinterest. But I didn't feel like she was doing anything behind my back. We try to keep those communication channels pretty open. Try to enforce, there's nothing off limits here that you can't come to us about. So, she's expressed some interest, but we've kind of said, let's wait. And she hasn't really brought it up again. She may, once some of her friends start doing it. A lot of her friends are a little bit more sheltered than she is. And so, like, some of them don't have phones yet, even.
That's great.
She's 14. So, that social pressure is not there quite yet for her, I don't think.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing to actually hear, because, man, I'll tell you, I think these phones are just part of the devil, man. Really. Yeah. And they've caused a lot of.
It's kind of a double-edged sword.
And I'm going through it with my 12-year-old. She's like, "Oh, my friend's got it." And I'm like, "That's great. I don't care." Like, I care about you. I don't care about your friend. I care about you. I care about what you're seeing. And she's like, "Well, everybody else is doing it." And I was like, "Well, we're not everybody else." I go, they might be living in the new age and we're living in the stone age. Like, but I don't care, And I'm like, "You're not getting it." And so, because these things are they're dangerous. They're very like Snapchat,
can be,
TikTok and Instagram, like, so much information is on there and they can hide it from you. Yeah, I've experienced that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, sure. And you kind of just have to know your kids and, what their limits are and, what they're going to be prone to. Obviously with a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old, their phone use is very different. But when we got them phones, I locked those things down. Like, they couldn't do anything without me knowing on it. As far as I know, obviously they could probably figure some things out, but I was using those parental restrictions as much as I could. And, I think that the reality is they're going to explore and experiment with things. And when they are feeling, frightened, or, if something catches them off guard, or they see something that they're confused about, I want them coming to me. Right. And they may not, but if they're not coming to me, I want them coming to somebody that I trust. And so, having pseudo parents in their life that, are going to kind of speak the same, words of wisdom into them as we would has been really important as well. So, if they're having a bad day and they don't want to talk to dad, okay, that's fine. You don't have to talk to me. Mm-hmm. Who are you going to talk to? Right. Who are you going to go to? So.
That's awesome. You have those open line of communications with the kids. I think that's very healthy and very important. What?
Well, it's not always like that, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to keeping the communication lines open. Definitely made some mistakes there.
Sure. I think we all do. I think that's how we kind of learn, is by some of the mistakes and pivot. Yeah. That's important, as we're navigating this fatherhood, is pivoting, because I don't know how many times you've got to pivot, but you almost have to pivot yearly to each kid, because they're just hitting this different stage, this different development, and, they're voicing their opinions, they're talking more, they're experimenting in different social environments. So it's a constant game of pivot.
Right. And just when you think you've got it figured out, they, throw a wrench in everything, and you're like, "Oh, well, that's new. Okay. How are we going to deal with that
one?" Yeah. I've had those head scratching moments going, I don't even know.
We're going to have to talk about this, but
now. Yeah. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Yeah. Give me a minute. One of the biggest, I think, mistakes I've made is I'm a fixer.
Okay. Yeah.
So I naturally like you come to me with a problem and I'm like, here's a solution or here's a couple of
Mm-hmm.
solutions. And that's hurt me too, because, several times they're like, Dad, just shut up. I want you to listen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oof, now you're testing the game of patience
Mm-hmm.
because, and I'm over there like, okay. And I'm like, man, they're telling me this. I'm like, I got the answers. But I'm like, just shut
Mm-hmm.
up. Just shut up. That voice in my head is talking. I'm like, shut
Yeah.
the fuck up, man.
Yeah.
Do not blurt anything out right now. And
Right.
that's one of the biggest things that have taught me is one, patience. Because they're going to need that time, probably more time for you just to listen than to actually give advice.
Right.
But
Right.
what are you looking forward to in fatherhood, man?
So like I said, my oldest is about to be a senior. We're kind of venturing into new territory. Having a daughter that's kind of launching out on her own. It's kind of a new adventure. Right now, everything that we're doing, we're thinking, okay, this is something that she might need to know. So all those adulting kind of things, right? We're not raising a kid anymore. We're raising an adult. And so what that looks like is it's kind of fun because she gets to stretch, right? She gets to grow and we get to see it. We had a battery problem in her car and, it was like, okay, you need to know how to change a battery. So let's pop the hood open. Here's how you do it. And we were driving to get the battery replaced and her car like stalled out right at a stop sign. Like she could not move. And I had driven on. So I turned around and she was already out of the car and she's like, wow, a little bit of a panic. This was just earlier this week. And so I was like, okay, here's what we do, right? She's freaking out because the cars are stopping and she's paranoid. What are people thinking about me? And I'm like, you gotta roll with it, right? Even though you're supposed to be moving when you're in the road, we're not moving and we're going to figure out what to do when we're not moving. And so just kind of coaching her through those adulting kind of things. It's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to her leaving the house in some ways. That's going to change the dynamic within our home, especially with the younger two. But in some ways I am looking forward to seeing how that changes the relationship with my middle daughter and my son. That's kind of sometimes that gets a little bit strained and they can kind of, fight with one another. And I'm kind of hopeful maybe that as a unit of two instead of three, that improves a little bit. And
yeah, it kind of reverses it. And now they become closer to build a different kind of bond, right?
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, or it could go the other way. Is your 14-year-old, 17-year-old close?
I would say that most of the time they're close. Every now and then they can definitely go at it, but I think that they rely on each other a lot. They're very, very different. My oldest is very kind of type A, very analytical. She thinks things through. My middle is a little bit more of a free spirit. She kind of, goes to the beat of her own drum, and we kind of like that they're different like that. But sometimes those differences can create some clashing as well. So yeah, it's fun. It's exciting. Like I don't dread any aspect of their personalities, when it comes to how it shows up. It's all kind of their package deals. And
oh yeah, absolutely. And it's just watching the bean grow and watching them, mature into these nice big trees, and just wherever they go and however they go. Is your oldest going to college?
Yeah, I think she's, again, this was a decision that she, it changes often, but she's wanting to be a librarian. And so she's kind of sought out some different schools to do that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's have some conversations with librarians and see what the future of libraries looks like, because it's going to look different than it did when we were growing up. So
Yeah, you actually went to libraries. Now it's Amazon.
right. Yeah. I mean, you got the library on your phone. So
Yeah.
what does that look like to enter that field at a time when everything's going digital? And so we're just kind of like, yeah, how can we support you in this? Now I think you have to have a master's degree in order to do that. So she's looking at what those options are for her.
A master's degree to be a librarian.
Yeah. I think it's like a master's in library science or something like that.
Just to be honest with you, man, I didn't even know there was a degree in being a librarian.
Yeah.
That's news, man. Interesting. I've learned something new today.
Sure.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, that's her plan, and like I said, it changes often. So it's possible that, things could shift. She's got some ideas, some kind of small business ideas, kind of like a curated, home book library system thing that she's thinking through. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a neat idea. Let's research how to do something like that. So
yeah, instantly when she said that, when you said that, I was like, a business idea came up, and I was like, that there might be something in there for that.
Sure.
Just maybe not the traditional sense of librarian,
right.
And something that she could even just go and travel to different, countries as a librarian.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and that's something that she's wanting to do more of. She's planning on going to Italy on a senior trip, and that'll be kind of her first international travel this next year. But she's very intrigued by culture, and we try to support that, however we can. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's an adventure.
Awesome, man. Josh, thank you. I want to wish you a happy Father's Day, man.
Too.
So it sounds like this might be, not the last Father's Day you'll have with your oldest daughter, but maybe one of the last ones you're going to have while she's in the house. So make it special, man. Hopefully they make it special for you. Again, thank you for coming on the show, bud.
Appreciate it, Dustin. Thanks so much.
If you have a heroic story and you'd like to share it, get in contact with us. Our information's in the bio. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, and share. And then I'll see you on the next episode, badasses.